Today, we're going to talk about something that I'm sure, if you're being honest, is something we'd rather not think about. And it just happened to me. It just happened to me 2 days ago. And I'm talking about when you have your passwords, you have all the security system on your computer, but inevitably something happens that makes you panic. Like, you know, that feeling like, oh Lord, because we have so much in these computers our whole lives, right? So a friend of mine in St. Louis, she called, or excuse me, she texted me and she said, "Hey Donnie, I'm pretty sure this didn't come from you." And it was some email, not mine, but it said from Dawn Kendrick, and then it had the click on here. I think it's you in the picture, the one most people know not to click on. But I felt so violated. I really did. Have you been there? Have you felt that? Because it's like, really, really, and then you're like scrambling, change the passwords, everything that you can do. Well, if you are lucky, you have a friend named Ken Fanger who you call, and he and his wife Lucy have a list. Do this, this, and this. So, camera 2, could you grab the 2 shot, please? Thank you. Oh, there we are. As far as you know, we have a whole crew. So anyway, this is my friend Ken Fanger, and he has a book that we want to make sure you want to hold that up and show him. It's Relax: A Guide to Cyber Security. And the first thing when I read those chapters, he said he wants to make it fun and exciting, And I thought, how is it fun and exciting? Don't even begin to tell me that it could be fun, but I guess that it can, because it comes into peace of mind. And the first thing we want to touch on is who can fall for these scams. In my case, I didn't have any active part to do, but you have a great story that a lot of people do fall for these scams.
So I knew this person. We all think that a rocket scientist is really intelligent. We know they're really intelligent. This person is a literal rocket scientist. He's an aerospace engineer. He's brilliant, one of the smartest people I know. But when he was in college, he got his wallet stolen from him. The very next day, the police called up and they said, "We have your wallet. We just need your PIN to confirm it."
You know where that's going.
You know what happened next.
Not the police, those good for nothing.
The hackers had called him and said they were the police. And he believed it for about 10 seconds. Unfortunately, that was long enough to give the PIN, and they took all his money. If he, who is extremely smart, could get fooled, you can see how anybody can get fooled. We always talk about, oh, how can anybody fall for the Nigerian prince? How could you fall for that person out wherever? It is easier than you think, because the hackers understand how we act and feel. The book Relax was written because you have to actively protect yourself by taking that 10 seconds. It was all the difference between giving the PIN and not giving the PIN.
The difference between react and act, right?
The difference between react and act. So when you're doing it, you want to relax, evaluate, and act. That's what the book talks about, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're reacting, because when you react, you do those bad things. You give the police your PIN.
Right.
And so that ends up being a situation where you're lost and you're feeling hurt, you're feeling damaged, and they know it.
Right. And in my case, I've done the stories as a reporter. Infuriated me to know my friend's mama, her grandson called from Puerto Rico or something. He was on vacation. "Please don't tell my parents. Can you wire me $6,000? I got to get out of jail." And you know what they said? This was the thing. She said, they waited for her to say, "Is this Robbie?" Or what? Yeah, she gave the name. Sure, that's who we are, right? But a special place, I think, for those people who prey on them. So, but the point being, no more shame. Okay, that's what you're saying. It can happen to anyone. No more shame. And in this book, you talk a little bit about, we wanted to make sure we covered 3 points. Like in chapter 12, you said the call came from inside the house. So we talk about employers and employees and the access. So at work, that is a scary thing.
Yeah. Well, most attacks happen from employees, but they are not the ones doing the attacking. And a lot of times what happens is they're there, they're working, They click on something wrong. I'll tell you another story. I love stories because I think they make it. We had a large company. They got an email. The email came from what appeared to be a legitimate partner. It said, I needed $125,000 paid to this bank account for invoice so-and-so. The person clicked it. They're used to getting invoices from this company. They paid it. They never asked. They never checked. They just did it. It didn't matter that it went to a different bank account. They just, because it was habit, they did it. Well, unfortunately, they sent the money. Then they called the vendor and said, hi, I was calling on invoice 111. What was that for? The vendor said, I don't know your invoice. We never sent you that. Then they realized. They tried to get the money back from the bank. It was too late. Right. I tell people, always pick up that phone. If it's something you weren't expecting, make a quick phone call, because you end up saving. I know we don't like to call anymore. Everybody wants to text. Everybody wants to email. Yeah. But we end up saving a lot more money if we go back to the olden days of calling people when you're in question. Right. Be like me. I'm old enough. I actually still remember when phones had little rotary things on them.
How old are you? I remember too.
Really old.
As far as you know. No clue what you're talking about.
You're 12, but.
Look old for my age.
But no, that's exactly what happens. So when you're looking at an employee, remember, you have to be part of their team with them. Right. Don't punish them for mistakes. Don't beat them up. Make sure that you are there with them, because we spend so much time making it so you're embarrassed, making it so you feel really frustrated, and you feel foolish because you did something. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you a story that happened to us. I'll tell you a couple of stories that happened to us so that you know that even cybersecurity people can be hacked. My wife and I own On Technology Partners, and we were actually getting ready to roll out multi-factor authentication. Most of you know what that is, in that you have it at your banks. It's where you have to go and find your cell phone that you forgot to bring upstairs when you log on to your bank. So you have to go all the way downstairs, pick up your phone, run back upstairs, and type in a 6-digit code. It was the day before we rolled that out for our email system, and Lucy, for some reason, had lost her Outlook. So she went to reinstall it. She went to a site she thought was Microsoft, but she didn't look at it because she was hurrying. She's very busy. It wasn't Microsoft. She put it in, and all of a sudden, boom, she had sent out 2,000 emails. Now, fortunately, we saw what was happening. We shut it down. And ironically, that list that we gave you, we did the same thing. We changed all the passwords. We reset the account. We informed everybody that we had been hacked, which to this day, I still have people that are like, you are a cybersecurity company and you told people you were hacked? Absolutely. If we don't follow what we preach, you shouldn't work with us. Right. And so that was a major thing. We did everything right after the fact, but that did happen. And we did end up in a situation where we had to deal with a breach ourselves. So those things happen. And if you stop people from talking about it, if you stop people from sharing it, it becomes a secret. And that's when it does. The hackers want to keep it a secret. They want to keep it. They don't want you to be relaxed. They don't want you to share what's happened. And when I do these presentations and I talk to people, it's amazing the number of people that talk up of what happened to them. And a lot of people feel violated.
That's the word. I thought, and here's the other thing I want to touch on. How hard is it to find these people? There's his email. I mean, how hard is it to track? You actually found the people. This is infuriating. This is why you feel violated and ultimately sometimes powerless.
Well, this was back in 2008. We all remember how wonderful 2008 was. So we had gotten a series of orders for hardware. We don't normally sell hardware, but we're really excited. We were doing it. We even went through, we thought we were testing each of the credit cards we were getting by looking up the addresses. Ends up that our credit card processor at the time didn't actually check addresses. So when we're putting it in and it said valid, it didn't mean it was validated. So we thought, oh, we're doing it right. We're making sure we're doing the right thing. We weren't. They had taken $40,000 in hardware sales from us. We were devastated. But we did find out exactly where in Atlanta, Georgia, it was being shipped to and when it was going to be picked up. We called the FBI and said, we have all this information. We know exactly when they're going to be there. The FBI told us, unfortunately at the time, sorry, it's not $100,000. It's too small for us to take action on.
And that is infuriating. And they know it.
And they knew it.
They're laughing all the way to the
to the bank.
hacker shop or whatever. I mean, seriously.
Mhm.
And a part of me is like, I'm going to start finding them. I'm going to try and be like investigative reporter. And then I'm like, I need to change my passwords first. And the truth is, I think that it was one, it's not hard to figure out she was my friend, you know, we're on social media. I bet they just sent one or two like they were me, but I thought just check and see what that email. At first, I'm like, they got into my email. No, they didn't. They're sending it from their email. They're just saying it came from John Kendrick. It's so simple. And I had that panic. And then I'm like, wait a minute. No, I think probably a calmer mind will prevail. And that's your whole point. Act, don't react.
Yes. And it's common. We've all heard of, we got that email from the boss that says, hey, I need a $5 gift card. Click this link and order it for me. Or I need this for my daughter. In fact, there's a joke in my book where it has the secretary sitting in the front. There's a hacker in the back in the boss's office. And she says, wow, I thought the boss was in Jamaica and she doesn't have a daughter. You know, it's how many times have you
forget the basic. Sure. Listen, it happens, Ken. I was waiting. Did I interrupt you? Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Because when you were talking earlier about the contractor and then they reached out, that happened here out in the North Royalton, Strongsville area to a church.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that has to be, they were doing a lot of construction. And someone said, okay, here's the money. You're the construction company. Paid it. And then realized when they called and said, we haven't been paid, and it's gone. The money's gone.
The money's gone. Yep.
That has to be a beeline to hell when you rip off a church. I'm just saying, you know, but I love this book. Again, let's show it because, again, you're not powerless. There are plans of action. And guess what? No more shame because it happens. It happens. Our job is to make sure it happens less and that they're less effective. And that's the together we can, together we will part of the Good Stuff family and empowering people, not only telling good stuff stories, but helping good stuff people fight back, basically.
Well, yeah, and stand together. I think even better than necessarily fight back so much, if we can realize fight and flight is the worst thing you can have. We've all had our computers scream at us with the support notice, and you're like, oh, I gotta do something. I gotta act right now.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, that's when you do the wrong action. That's when you click on things.
So just take a second. Just take the second. Take a breath. Call Ken.
Yes, call Ken.
That's what I did.
Read the book. That's the most important. It's coming out on the 11th, so we're looking forward to it. It's been about a half year's worth of work. It's a lifetime put into one book. And I even put my mistakes so that you know that I am honest. I tell the stories of like Lucy's email. She's probably going, why are you telling that again?
Hi, Lucy. Wait, can you tell the other story about you? This is you in the first few pages of this book. You'll read this story. This is something.
So she's talking about a story. When I first started out in life, I was working for a very large corporation. Not all hacks are actually hacks from the outside. You can just have data loss items. So I was in charge of a $5 million warehouse. I was 21 years old, and I got a little cocky. I thought I could do something to make my job easier, and I wiped out all of the inventory for this company, all of it.
Now, how many of you are here and they're going, $5 million like, yes. Lord have mercy. I imagine your heart started beating like every hair on your arm stands up like, Lord, I'm fired.
Yeah, that's exactly. And I stood up. I thought it was over. I'm like, I wiped out everything. They can't ship. And this is $5 million of 1994, not nowadays dollars. It was an exorbitant amount of money. Walked down to the network administrator's office, who hired me, Ken, as well. I always thought that was kind of funny. I said, I'm fired. He looks up, he laughs at me, and he says, what are you talking about? I said, I wiped out everything. It's all gone. And he looked at me and said, yeah, you are fired. Then he said, no, you're not. We have backups. It's fine. It'll take about 20 minutes. We're going to get everything back. You'll be okay. That's the day I learned how important backups really were in the process, because I would have been done if he didn't have backups. I would have been done if he wouldn't have done that. And
that's a good message too. The proactive thing that you can do on your own, you know, and like you said, it's not always hackers. It's sometimes just honest mistakes, you know.
Yes.
I get that. But when I knew the story, and when I read the book, I was still like, oh, you know, and I knew how it ended, but still,
Yeah.
you know. So again, no shame, no shame. I want to make sure we acknowledge we have a lot of people watching, and so when we say God weaves, now watch him work. It gets to be a small world in the Good Stuff family. It's like pulling a string. There's Scott Vaughn. Is he your friend? He said, hi, Ken.
Yes,
He's our friend. And he has a great tribute concert coming up.
I know, isn't he amazing?
He's
I love that tribute concert.
So yeah, it's a bunch of Kiss bands, and so we're gonna try and get him on for a live stream too. But that's the thing. Start leaning on my favorite Bob Goff. I say he's my friend and mentor who doesn't know it yet. And he says, find the people who are adjacent to what you're trying to do, who do things better than you, and align yourself with them. That's what Ken has been for me, y'all. So not only is he super smart, he is a super grassroots member of the Good Stuff family and has helped me in ways I could never have imagined. A godsend, Good Stuff dude, friend of mine, and Lucy, just super grateful. And then so it turns out, of course, you know, Scott, he's doing good stuff. They're raising money this year for Sub-Zero Mission. That's a huge good story that they go into the trenches and they pull these veterans, and they don't just say head to the VA. They pull them up and they go in the trenches with them. Not surprised that he's friends with you. That's how it works, you all. So share this, share. You just never know who, who's connected. Who's connected once you pull a string on the Good Stuff family. Then we have, I have worked with older adults for almost 15 years. This is a great topic. Great job on this book. This is very important for everyone, but especially our older adults. Thank you for covering this. I never know if I should out her, Nacho Allen Wash. We'll just go with that because that's it. But clearly that's not her name. Although I thought it was cooler his name Nacho, and then I had hankering for nachos. But she's a really fantastic person who's a perfect example of overcoming something that you just could never have seen coming. Mm-hmm. And she's overcoming, and she's been such a integral part of the Good Stuff family. So here she is complimenting you, and that's how we do it. Together we can, together we will. It says Ken should share the book and do presentations at local senior centers. That's right. When she lived here in Northwest Ohio, she did a lot of work with senior centers. And I know Travis Ford is watching. He worked with the Attorney General's office in Missouri, and he had to go speak to these elderly places. And he said the biggest compliment, Ken, and I'm sure you get this, is when they call him, they've remembered his name and said, I remembered you said, don't ever give out XYZ. They'll never ask. Tell them that you will hang up and you will call them. Right. Yeah. And see if it's going to. So that's huge in helping each other out, you know.
And I would love to do presentations. I live for presentations because I think the more people hear this, yes, that's why I'm here today. Yes. And if people are listening and they have someplace they'd like me to present, if it's a nonprofit or a social, I do it for free. If it's a corporation, there is a charge, but it is about helping and getting this message out. And it's about realizing, like you said, we're in it together, and we have to be in it together.
Yeah. And I've been scrolling how you can find them on techpartners.com. That's their website. You can get all the links that you need from there. Is there anything else? We like to try and keep these to about 20 minutes. So we have a few more minutes left. Anything else you can think of to cover before we wrap it up?
Well, I have one more great story that I love. Okay. I got a call from the IRS. And just so everybody knows, IRS don't have badges, which will make sense in a few moments. But so this guy called and said, I owe $3,000. I need to go get Bitcoin and pay the IRS. I knew it wasn't the IRS immediately. The IRS one doesn't call me. Lucy takes care of our finances. But I decided I was going to mess with this guy. So I kept him on for about a half hour. And I kept asking different questions. I said, oh, so it's $3,000. Does it have to be in dollar bills? Can I send it you in coins? Where do I take it to? I did anything I could to make sure that guy never got off the phone with me. And then I said, okay, so I need your badge number. And he's like, oh, no, I don't give out my badge number. That's a secret. I'm like, your badge number is a secret. The number that you're giving out to everyone is a secret. Is that what you're telling me? Knowing, first of all, that they don't have badge numbers. Yeah. But it was just a funny thing, and he just kept going deeper and deeper. So if you want to have a little fun and somebody calls and says they're from the IRS and you're not in tax trouble, probably not from the IRS. And if they are, ask them if they have a badge. If they don't say, no, we don't have badges, we have IDs, then you probably can mess with them for the whole half hour.
But I got to tell you, I hear these stories and what do we say? Helping each other, patience, humility, gratitude, repeat. I hear these stories and I want to punch somebody. I'm serious. What? Stop already. Like, go make your own money is what I want to say.
Yeah.
So it feels good to know that you're not in this alone, that we're stronger and better together. And I wanted to just point out that when I get around to writing my book, there's going to be a chapter called Everyone Needs to Find Their Fanger. It's my buddy, my friend, my mentor, my friend. Just he's been there, and so anytime that you could lean into what he's offering, I highly recommend it. He and Lucy Fanger. Not only are they super smart in ways most of us aren't, they're kind and they're good to the bone. They're just good to the bone. So I want to make sure we acknowledge. Oh, there's Travis. Let's just really quick wrap up. Acknowledge Travis said important update. He had nachos for lunch today. Do you mind, Travi? That's my friend. For God's sake. Okay.
Hey, that's the most important thing. We all love nachos. So, hey.
All because of Nacho Allen Wash. I love her. And Jackie Bertolette, good to the bone as well, doing so many good things. Yeah. She has a whole Haute Ohio magazine where she believes beauty, the inner beauty. And they have Down syndrome models and the whole message for them is it's not what you see with the eyes, and so she's doing great things. So just even a sample of the people who are commenting, if anything, let it be reassurance to you that you're not in this alone. The Good Stuff family tree is growing, and we're stronger because of it. Yeah. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here.
So grateful for you. Okay, and you see it down there again one more time, ontechpartners.com. All right, guys, thanks for watching. God bless.